So Death Battle just dropped Hulk versus Godzilla, and while I was expecting, I think everyone was expecting two monsters duking it out to the bitter end. No holds bar, nobody caring who won as long as it was legit and fair on both sides, right? Well, I guess a lot of us were wrong on that one, and essentially they gave Hulk the cheesiest win possible. Funny how after losing to two characters that really he shouldn't have, let's be honest here, he wins in the most I guess you can say, excuse my language, aspal way possible, right? With Bruce Banner making a gadget. And this also means Hulk had to flee and hide from the fight, which is completely out of character. He's never done that in his life. When has Hulk ever ducked a fade? Like, and I'm talking about 616 Hulk. When has he ever, and I mean ever, ducked a fade? But let's talk about this here. Now, when it came down to the background information, great. But then I noticed something. I'm like, wait a minute. Did they add Nightmare? Rage? Hold on, Super was there too. Oh, that's absolutely crazy. Then they had Ultimate mode, and then Santa Claus as well. Crazy. It's actually crazy how they never covered any of these forms or how strong they were. They barely even covered some of Hulk's forms, but you know what? They gave Hulk a lot of stuff here. Now, I was pretty fine with the beginning information of everything, right? But I knew Godzilla was going to lose when it really came to defeat. They spent more time yapping about what Godzilla is and that, oh, well, realistically, he wouldn't make any sense. Neither does Fin Fang Foom in Marvel Comics. Neither does Devil Dinosaur in Marvel Comics. Neither does any kaiju in Marvel Comics. But yet we don't really look for a realistic explanation for them, would they? But when it came down to it, Hulk had every feat he should. I'm not going to say the Hulk information was terrible. Like, let's be real. They actually gave Hulk some justice. But then they kind of just took it away, right? Like, I'm going to get into that. But let's really talk about it. All this information here for Hulk is great. Everything here is legit, from his classic day self. Every feat is pretty much here, and then all the way to his current self. Also, can we get rid of this whole he lifted a 150 billion ton mountain? Like, that's an impressive feat. Come on, now we're talking about the Hulk here. Like, really, you guys have so many other feats, and that's the one you keep picking to use every single time in the Namor video, in the Hulk versus Doomsday, Hulk versus Broly. You keep bringing that up. That's not impressive. That's just, it's kind of casual for the big guy. And then you have Godzilla's feats. Keep in mind, barely any of these things were really elaborated on, especially with the whole ultimate thing. And then the funny part is they had the audacity to talk about the Godzilla cosmology, but never even elaborated on what or how the Godzilla cosmology works. Don't worry, I'm going to get into that in a little bit here. And, you know, shout out to Godzilla King of the Monsters, or King of the Monsters right now, who actually has made a Godzilla cosmology video and has actually scaled a large majority of the Godzillas, with me only covering the few I actually do enjoy. Don't worry, that Universal Heisei scale is coming out very soon, because I feel like having just a little bit of fun with it. So, yeah, with that being said here, why did they not use the Marvel feats, when they actually used them from Godzilla versus Gamera? Like, if you really think about it, they actually used it. And if you go ahead and watch Godzilla vs. Gamera, they actually were okay with using the Thor and the Avengers feat. And the excuse for why they didn't use them now is so poor and just so, I'm going to say it, idiotic, that it's actually hilarious, believe it or not. Saying that they're inconsistent and, you know, not really on par with their canon counterparts, which is actually going to be funny. I'm going to get into that here. But let me say this, because I know some of you Hulk stans are going to have a hard time with me saying this. I would not have cared if Hulk had won. But the way he wins goes against his character and how a death battle, a death match, mind you, should work. In all honesty, I'm going to say it like it is. This is cheating. It really is. Because how do you give somebody prep time mid-battle and give them the dub like that, right? They might say, well, Legendary, why didn't they use Marvel Comics? I thought it was a composite Godzilla. See, that's the funny part. I did too. But here's the thing, right? This is why you have to pay attention to the little black brackets in the corner. So, here's what it says, and I'm going to read it word for word. Some Godzillas have defeated characters like Thor and Superman comics, but the scenarios involve off-comic gags or elseworld variants with unique circumstances and less power than their mainline counterparts. You're lying. You're lying, dirty piece of... Now, okay, let me stop. But you're lying. This is a big lie. This was so easy to find. Getting writer confirmations and stuff like that, saying they're Elseworld stories. Now, the Godzilla vs. Superman one is an Elseworld story, but what makes this a gag? Like, none of these are funny. These are serious stories. Like none of these are like gag or one-off stories. No, these are full-blown series. And keep in mind, the writer of this story said that this Superman was as powerful as his Prime Earth counterpart, which isn't hard to believe considering the fact that some Elseworlds counterparts have actually crossed and fought their mainline counterparts in canon stories, and some otherworldly superheroes have been confirmed to be on par or showed to be on par with the Prime Earth superheroes. So I would definitely say that this Superman is likely on par with the New 52 in post-Crisis era, albeit I can't say that anymore because, again, DC's continuities or mainline continuity has merged ever since Dark Crisis. And this is because of the whole Gold Wonder Woman story, where she basically fused both the pre-Crisis all the way to current DC Comics together, meaning it's one linear thing, so you can use it all. So you have that. Then you also have God Butcher Godzilla. Or sorry, not God Butcher Godzilla, Marvel Godzilla. Here's the funny thing. This is confirmed to be in the current 616 canon, with a few stories taking place in some of the older 616 material. And keep in mind, this is the same Godzilla from the previous Marvel Comics run. Or from his previous times in Marvel, excuse me. And the funny part is, that's Showa Godzilla, who has confirmations that he's weaker than Heisei. Even with all this, even with, people asking questions to get the proper information. Because, people can do that. People can always ask the writers questions. I don't know why Death Battle didn't take the initiative to actually go out of their way and do that. I mean, you have the confirmation on the writers from the writers and, creators right here that, yes, they got the rights to Godzilla and threw him into the 616 verse yet again. So saying that these characters are not on par with their 616, or wait, they are 616 characters, aren't they? They're the actual 616 characters we see today. It's actually kind of crazy, isn't it? And the funny part about it is, this was simple to find. Simple information to get. So this means that Godzilla and, Showa Godzilla will still retain all of that 616 feats, including the current stuff, such as him absorbing Hulk's gamma blood and, him one-shotting Hulk years ago. All right, that's still retained here. But again, both characters have grown stronger since then, and now we have a very different argument, right? Yeah, see, I don't know why that wasn't put there or wasn't added. But again, laziness and Death Battle does still exist, as you guys saw in my Galvatron versus Silver Surfer review, where they simply stated, oh yeah, we had the information for Gold Megatron, but we started, whatever. Now, let's talk about this here. The Godzilla cosmology and the Marvel cosmology, right? Y'all never talked about this at all. Y'all never, deep dived into it, talking about how Godzilla has these infinite universes and tried to make Ultima seem like it was the strongest. Oh, let's not forget the 5-second little clips that you gave for Godzilla in Hell. The disrespect on something so simple is absolutely hilarious. Okay, it's telling too. But again, this is not the first time Death Battle has done this. This is the same thing with Asura versus Kratos, where Asura barely got anything, while Kratos had a lot. Now, as you guys can see here, this is basically the detailed explanation on the Godzilla cosmology, where God's Mountain basically created everything in the IDW Godzilla multiverse, with this also intertwining with the Power Rangers multiverse and also going into the greater Godzilla multiverse, which is all infinite in size. Okay? Infinite universes, infinite timelines with alterations and, obviously different timelines, alternate timelines and stuff like that, right? So keep in mind, everything in the Godzilla cosmology is infinite in size, right? And you might say, well, Legendary, the Godzilla cosmology doesn't have any higher realms and stuff like that. And I'm going to say this. Godzilla's cosmology is the higher realm. And you might say, okay, Legendary, how? Let's talk about this, right? Godzilla's verse is already superior to that of the Power Rangers verse and the Dungeons and Dragons verse as well. Probably could add some other verses like Cthulhu Mythos and other things, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So, with that being said here, with Godzilla's verse being superior and the fact that Godzilla's kaijus are superior to the the Zords, which are also part of the morphing grid and also connect to the Ranger's power source, with the Ranger stating that characters like Rodan, King Caesar, Anguirus, Baragon, and Mothra are flat out superior to their original powers. The fact that Rita confirmed that Godzilla and Ghidorah were real monsters, like genuinely real monsters. And keep in mind that Rita stated this, and she's created monsters capable of wiping out the morphing grid and even being able to destroy the Hall of Legends. Absolutely crazy, right? And keep in mind, Power Rangers also is an infinite multiverse on its own, with each Power Ranger universe counting as its own infinite universe with its other dimensions as well. For example, Mr. Force has magic dimensions and even the underworld as a dimension as well. You also have higher planes of existence in Power Rangers, like the morphing grid, which is basically a digital realm that is beyond the concepts of time and space. Then you have the Hall of Legends, or the Hall of Heroes, which is a dimension as well that is consistently beyond time and space and can give someone the power to destroy the very foundations of time and space itself. And again, this is all infinite in size. And see, what I find once again funny about this is that this information is not hard to look up. It's not hard to gather. All you have to do is just really read the comic, research the information. Matter of fact, who researched this information? I actually want to know. Because how did y'all really miss so much? Or did Death Battle do what it always does and it gets the information and it's like, nah, we're not going to use that here. And keep in mind, right, if they didn't want to use comic Godzilla, right, if they didn't want to use that, let's say they just didn't. Albeit I can't say that because, again, they had IDW in the video. Even with the likes of, Godzilla in Hell. Like, again, something that's just very easy to understand and research about. But again, I know the reason why is because piss poor fans or people who wanted to downplay Godzilla Earth kept trying to spread rumors that, oh, it was a dream, it never happened, when even the writer said, I'm sorry, what? What do you mean it's a dream? What do you mean it never happened? Like, what the heck? So yeah, that's kind of the whole mess with Godzilla Earth and stuff like that. But let me talk about the one part that had me looking Death Battle sideways so much that I think my eyeballs almost fell out, right? Super Godzilla is Heisei Godzilla going Super Saiyan. I know that sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But let's really talk about this here. The fact that Godzilla himself can literally defeat both Yamato no Orochi and Utsuno Ikuzagami, beings that are literally close to God and known as to be evil incarnate themselves, beings that are literally capable of manipulating hyperspace to attack higher entities, and are literal gods that can split the very concept of time in half. And let's also talk about the fact that there are also other cosmologies a part of Godzilla as well, such as the likes of Buddhism. Once again, shout out to King of the Monsters for putting this in his latest Godzilla vs. Hulk video. He will be making his own debunk, but again, I am just a little bit faster on the draw. And this is because, I kind of prepare myself for all this every time, even, gathering scans as I watch a video and stuff like that. So, yeah. Now, the thing about it is, and as you guys are going to see here, there's a lot of things that actually do dive into Buddhism. As you guys saw in my Asura vs. Kratos video, Buddhism can actually get you to outer versal quite casually, with the many dualities in the universe balancing things like chaos, light, dark, etc. And the funny part is, the other gods of the cosmology and the other gods that also participated in the battle against Yamato no Orochi and alongside Utsuno Ikuzagami, like the Amaterasu and the I think it was the Shio bird as well, are capable of, fighting against Yamato no Orochi. And keep in mind, Godzilla is still able to beat them, even confirmed to be able to beat Yamato no Orochi and Utsuno Ikuzagami at the same time. This would likely also include deities like Shiva, to which if you know that cosmology, then I am happy for you. I really am. Real ones right there. Keep in mind, this also would mean that Shiva himself is an outer-versal entity. He's also an outer-versal god. So, oh dang, this might mean Smite Optimus also gets to outer-versal because of that, dear lord. Because again, the cosmologies do still come with the gods. But that's besides the point. So this means Super Godzilla, which is basically Heisei on steroids, would easily get from anywhere from multiversal to outerversal. But again, we know Death Battle does not go that far. So again, keeping it at the multiversal caliber, you can even get him into the more higher tiers of the multiversal caliber. So yeah, you got some you got some good stuff and everything. You got some good stuff for Super Godzilla. Yeah, it's kind of funny how they mention him, but they just never talked about him. I find that very interesting. Very funny, and it's crazy. I think the craziest part is this: how did y'all even think that Ultima was the strongest? Like, even if you don't want to count Godzilla in Hell, Heisei is literally right there. Like, let's be real here. Oh, wait. I forgot. We also got Dungeons and Dragons to talk about because that's also a part of the Godzilla cosmology. With Godzilla here, there be dragons, the Godzilla droppings and stuff like that. And I've already scaled how strong a Dungeons and Dragons or the Dungeons and Dragons Godzilla actually is, with the fact that you have him at an outerversal level and etc. You have him being above the very concept of ranking itself, above the concept of magic, which is a very high, sorry, not cosmology, concept, excuse me, in the Dungeons and Dragons missiles. But you also have him above the strongest creatures in the material plane, things like Tarask. And yeah, I realize I've been saying it wrong this whole time. It's actually called Tarask instead of Terrasque. So excuse me, and I do apologize. You have him above Tarask, and even, Tarask is also above the likes of the Leviathan, who was able to withstand conceptual damages on an infinite layered level. So not only would Godzilla's cosmology contain massive amounts of higher realms that could easily equate to some of Marvel's realms, because let's be real, Hulk does not scale to every realm in Marvel, like the White House Room and possibly even the House of Ideas as well. And keep this in mind, and again, I'm saying possibly, keep this in mind that Dungeons and Dragons also is an infinitely layered cosmology, just as the same as Marvel. Again, you guys can go ahead and check out my How Strong is Dungeons and Dragons Godzilla video for further context on that. It's a nice little short 14-minute video. You guys should, go ahead, grab some popcorn, or maybe go ahead and grab yourself a cheeseburger or something and go ahead and watch it for yourself. But now let me actually talk to y'all real quick. Let me talk to the Hulk fans real quick. So if you're a Hulk fan, need y'all to come out forward. Are y'all actually happy with this? Because it's a win? Even though it goes against everything Hulk is, or how Hulk pretty much operates. Because here's the thing, right? And again, I'm going to have to say this again. I do not have a problem if Hulk would have won. The problem is how he won. It's literally a slap in the face. And you guys, and I'm trying to figure out why you guys are just casually accepting the fact that Bruce Banner was able to somehow run away, or Hulk ran away from a fight. Really? And then allows Bruce Banner to make him something. Because again, if we really talk about current times, Hulk and Bruce Banner are still not getting along, which is again one of the most annoying things about the Hulk story, because again, it's usually Bruce's fault. I mean, the last time they worked together, Bruce betrayed him again, and I feel bad for the Hulk. He's literally an abuse survivor at this point of a toxic relationship. But that's besides the point. But I want y'all to think about something real quick. In a death match, how are you allowed to run away from your opponent and also come back with a weapon that's meant to counter them? That's like Batman fighting against Black Panther, and then he escapes and comes back with something that he prepared for, like some type of nth metal or something like that. You never know. But in all honesty, I'm kind of surprised, because y'all have been kind of like this lately, especially after the whole Thanos fight, despite the fact that not only did Thanos not want the fight, and he was just simply trying to leave and let the Hulk kind of like be, but the fact is, y'all equate Hulk punching him in the back when he had his guard down and back turned because he tried to leave because he got what he came for. And then the fact that the Mind Stone user had, incapacitated him, straight up just, knocked him unconscious with her abilities. And then Hulk takes advantage of this and is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get this last hit in. Boom. And just punches his head further into the ground. Are y'all really okay with that? Instead of Hulk actually duking it out and likely just winning in a straight up brawl and fist fight against an actual Thanos that would actually fight him on those terms? Aren't you guys wanting him to win via his raw power, something that he should have had done or should have done multiple times over, but again consistently gets hoed? Again, excuse my language. And here's the thing, this is no different. This is you guys basically saying, or basically Death Battle saying, yeah, Hulk won, but he couldn't win via his own power. He had to win via the outside intelligence of Bruce Banner and prep time. Are y'all really happy with that? I mean, if y'all are, then, I mean, by all means, I guess to each their own. But at the end of the day, are you guys really happy with the fact that Hulk won in this fashion? Doesn't it feel like a slap in the mouth? Doesn't it feel like Death Battle just simply like pulled the rug from under you and said, here, this is how you have your win. You guys got your win over a pretty popular character. So why don't you go ahead and just take it like that and take it like it is? How do y'all not feel disrespected? Or how do some of y'all really just don't have, I guess you could say, the shame of, getting just outplayed like that? Because again, yeah, Hulk won. Great. He's no longer 2-0. But here's the thing. Why are y'all so okay with him winning like this? Is it because, Death Battle finally got the information right? Or is it because, whatchamacallit, Death Battle finally acknowledged that Hulk is powerful and stuff like that? Like, is that why some of y'all are actually okay with this? And again, I want to know y'all opinions down below, your genuine opinions. I'm not saying that you're wrong for, wanting Hulk to win, but he should have won via his own power, his raw power, the way he's always won everything. Even with his intelligence as Professor Hulk, he still wins via overpowering and being able to actually beat the opponent. Same way he's beaten Hercules, the Avengers, Thor on multiple occasions. But look, just let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. As for everybody else here, and including those who, are going to agree with this nevertheless, because I know some people are just death battle cultists. But, hey, that's going to be all today, guys. Please comment down below, like, and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.